Podcast Bites.
Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your hosts, Steve, Elizma, and Matt. It's
Against
kind of like
yourself.
the good old Saturday night. You go out, got blind, no one here,
Yeah.
of course. And then you go, I'm never drinking again, never drinking
Yeah.
again.
Yes.
Next weekend, what are we doing? Let's go out and get pissed. That's a classic addictive behaviour where
Yeah.
you've forgotten how bad that hangover was on
Yeah.
Sunday, where you
Yeah.
feel like dying. You know, we've all been there. I haven't been there for 30 odd years, but you do remember it. You know,
Yeah.
I remember the vomiting and all that sort of thing, and you still go and do it again.
I reckon that is involved with, some people get addicted to people. You know, they get addicted
Really?
to exes and they stalk people and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think they forget the bitch that she was. No, they forget the pain that they went through. They forget the bad stuff and they only remember the good stuff.
That happens.
So this seems to be a pattern with cravings and wantings and desires and stuff like that, where the pain and everything associated with it, it's an acceptable consequence of getting that reward.
Oh.
And the more extreme they get with receptor defects and dopamine deficiencies, the harder it is for them to get that feeling
That's right.
that they would have had just by seeing a sunrise or something.
That's right, because
you know?
they keep resetting the bar.
Yeah.
You know, if they, it's like what Steve said. Like if they do something, it makes them feel great. They eat sugar, it makes them feel great, and they're constantly going to look for that same behavior again to get that reward. But over time, they'll need more, and they'll need more
Yeah.
because those sudden dopamine surges that they get from the pleasurable behavior resets their bar for dopamine. And this is also one of why we have so much relapse, you know, why with alcohol or drug addictions, there's a lot of the therapies are helpful in getting them off it, but there's a very, very high relapse rate. And it's
Yeah.
because their reward system or their dopamine system is sitting there instead of there.
Yeah. So when we're talking about it so far, what we've talked about is dopamine defects. We said that we could use things like tyrosine, but we need to control the pathways that the tyrosine goes down to. Now, that's a holistic approach because the controlling the adrenaline pathway is by being anti-anxious. You know, is that even
Yeah.
a thing? It's actually reducing sympathetic nerve activation, which Steve was talking about there, which could be related to the gut inflammation. Basically, your body doesn't know what the bloody hell, or can't afford to wait to see what a stress is before it reacts. So if it gets a trigger from the immune, the inflammation, temperature, whatever, it's going to manifest a stress response. So you need to take some burden off that by not freaking out over everything else, you know. We then look at dopamine that way, so we've got to control our gut microbiome. So Clostridiums and that sort of stuff in particular. There's a lot. We got a product called Gut Right, but a lot of those are the polyphenols. A lot of antimicrobial polyphenols kill off Clostridiums. Other things that include grapefruit seed extract as well, berberines and those sort of things you can use to kill off the Clostridiums and allow that tyrosine to go down dopamine pathway. Then what we want to look at is these dopamine receptors. So they've been getting smashed this whole time.
Yep.
So when we bring back these levels back to a normal level, all of a sudden they're not going to register. There will be a period of time which it takes for those receptors to upregulate again, to say, hey, where the bloody hell have all my brain chemicals gone? I'm going to upregulate. Now, those receptors are typically made of oily, proteiny stuff. So we need, we need lots of oil. So our brain is 80% oil or something like that, something
Yep.
stupid like that. So,
Yep.
and all those little antennas are all oily. Okay, so we need lots of essential fatty acids, and not just one or two type. We don't need just EPA, DHA. Even though EPA is the predominant one in the brain, we need all the others to be able to make the structure and actually hold it, because EPA is sloppy. It doesn't
Yeah.
even make a receptor. You need to have some structure with the stearic acids and all that sort of stuff as
Central
well.
fats,
So
yeah.
a big variety of oils, and also working on the ways those receptors work. So then we've got all the little B vitamins, all the little enzyme cofactors, the zincs, the magnesiums, the folates, the B12s, along with other B vitamins, are all involved in the way those receptors work. So before you start any campaign to try to fix your addictions, make sure you are capable of it. Make sure you've got a good nutritional status with essential micronutrients and essential fatty acids to make sure you're capable of doing it. And they've even done one study with EPA, DHA, where they gave one group EPA, DHA supplements, and they gave another group turmeric. And And the turmeric group got more EPA-DHA in their brain than the people taking EPA-DHA. So a lot of it's aiding the conversion. In fact, zinc deficiency is a bigger link between your inability to make EPA-DHA from your omega-3 precursors. So making sure we don't have deficiencies in zinc, magnesium, B vitamins, using things like turmeric along with all your big mixed variety of oils, and lots of different plant oils and that sort of stuff. And that's probably one of the best ways to make sure your body's capable of rebuilding the receptors. What else can we do in that receptor end of the game? Is there anything else we can do to help and support the receptors from coming back?
Well, magnesium helps NMDA receptors. Magnesium reduces the NMDA receptor activity and the glutamatergic activity, so it helps that with their stress response. Also, what they did in one study was they got rats morphine addicted, okay?
Yeah.
And they then withdrew them and they went obviously nuts. Now, the other group, they got a morphine addicted, same morphine. They administered magnesium at the same time and they were much better.
Oh, cool.
So now obviously people say, what about humans? You can't give morphine willy-nilly
No.
to humans. You have to go to rats. And this is very interesting. And magnesium deficiency has also been associated with contributing relapses. In people go, oh yeah, I'm off the drugs, and they go back on.
Yeah.
That's heavily associated with magnesium deficiency.
right.
So that's what this great new paper came out, 2018, Magnesium in Addiction, a general view, which just goes through all the studies on this. It's great. Magnesium is deficit involved in addictive substances, heroin, morphine, cocaine, nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, and others.
Yeah,
so it's
wow.
all of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
So when you look at magnesium, a lot of people mark it as a relaxer. It's not so much a relaxant, but just sort of make sure you're capable of switching off.
Yeah.
So when you get these triggers to say go, 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 magnesium then comes out to switch off those triggers.
Yeah.
Make sure you're capable of switching. Go, okay, I heard you, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's how magnesium probably works a lot.
Avocado, motherfucker.